Chris Pezman, Athletic Director of Houston. As always, we're going to talk here for as long as we can, and then if you can't see it all, we can't show it all to you on TV, just go to Fox Local on your TV, download the app. All right, first of all, how'd you sleep after that game against Texas A&M?
I don't know that I slept much.
It took me 2 hours to fall asleep, and I had nothing to do with it. And I watched you for like 20 seconds. At one point, you were sitting there like this, just like I could feel your heartbeat.
Yeah, I had my Apple Watch on. It gave me a few heart attack alerts. It was not good. But, those are so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so encompassing. And the whole season coming down to a few moments at the end and, survive and advance. And for those kids to pull it together with, so much adversity, 4 starters out and pulling that together, I've never seen anything like it.
How do you view this time of year? How do you watch a game? How do you wear the burden as the athletic director? Because your work's been done to this point. Like, you're not changing anything. You're not hiring a new coach. Not that you would, but like, you've established what you want to happen. So now, how do you sit back and be like, my work's done? And like, emotionally,
it's hard. Because it's balancing your job with being a fan, but also, hey, this is my job, and I got to make sure we're prepared for certain contingencies, however the game outcome comes down, or preparing for the next week if we're able to advance. But you have those moments during the game where you just kind of lock in and try and enjoy it, because you see how much effort and work goes into what these kids and these coaches put in over the course of the week and the season. And again, it comes down to that moment, and it's gut-wrenching. And you want the success so much for those kids, and you have no control. You just got to let it go, and it's really hard to do.
And that was the sentiment of Jamal Shed, LJ Cryer, everybody that fouled out. They were like, they felt the most helpless. They couldn't even watch, and the stomach ache, because you can't do anything. And I remember my parents always asked me like what it's like in these situations playing, and I'm like, honestly, it's a lot easier. I see you guys in the stands. You guys look like you're struggling a lot more than I am.
Oh yeah, when you play, you kind of forget.
Yeah.
And you go try to just execute and play, and you just go through the rhythm of the game. But as a fan, particularly in this role, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And it's probably knocked a few years off my life, and certainly a lot more gray in my beard and my hair.
The Silver Fox, though, looks good, man.
I'm trying, man.
How do we get people to Dallas? How do people get tickets? Because I want to see more fans there. I want to see us looking like Iowa State or Nebraska did in the last 2 tournaments.
Yeah, well, right now we are sold out. We had over 5,000 accounts request tickets. We get about 1,000 tickets as our allotment. That was gone within the first minutes. Yeah. And so we've been pushing everybody to the secondary market. Ticketmaster, SeatGeek, those all have options. If you go to the ESPN website, it'll direct you to ticket options. But we need you in Dallas. We've got to have you. Yeah. We need that place red. If anybody's seen Iowa State or Nebraska last weekend in Memphis.
So Nebraska sold the joint out in Memphis. It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, we wanted them to stick around for our game.
I know,
so
there's a lot of red.
There's a lot of red. But that's what our fans are learning to do, and that's what's really exciting. We were in San Antonio 2 years ago for the Sweet 16. We traveled really well. I'm excited to see what Dallas is going to look like this weekend. We're ready to roll.
And even if you're not a Houston fan, you got to hate Duke at least a little bit. So get on out there and cheer for Houston against Duke, or cheer just against Duke. What does this basketball team do for the athletic department as a whole? Because I know so many teams love to build a football program, and then they use that as a recruiting tool. Yeah. And go out. You're kind of doing it the other way around. The challenges of that, and then how this is helping.
Well, as a positive, our ceiling's really high, and that's what our basketball team continues to demonstrate. And we've had other programs that have had high levels of success nationally. Track. We've had moments in football. We've had moments in other sports. But the sustained success that basketball has had at such a high level, that's the blueprint that we use now for our other programs. And certainly we expect to see that soon with football with Coach Fritz. But, what Kelvin has done with our basketball program it's generational. And I don't say that lightly. He has been absolutely incredible. The staff, and then the consistency of the kids, and the caliber and quality of the people. We all see them in the moments when they're playing, but to see those kids and those coaches every other day of the year, and how they represent us is so gratifying, because they do it the right way.
I want to talk football in a second. First, overall big picture, money-making sports like basketball and football. How do you handle NIL right now? How do you build a program? How do you sustain a program? Because it can flip on a dime if players are like, coach is being a jerk to me. I'm not getting the playing time. I'm out of here. Yeah. And all of a sudden your recruiting cycle's changed.
That's exactly right. You know, I don't want to overuse the word, but what Coach talks about with culture is huge. And I mean, Coach Sampson is one of the few guys that can coach the way he coaches. He leans into those kids really hard. But equally so, they love those kids up so much off the court and every other aspect of their lives. And he talks about how many kids he talks to every day, former players that come back, and how they interact with him and the staff, Lauren, Kellen, Quantis, all those guys. That to me is what kind of supersedes NIL and you know, the quick reaction to jump if things aren't going your way. And that's what we are building around. But NIL is certainly a huge component of what we have to address and continue to build upon. You know, one thing that gets lost in all this is, you know, potentially our whole team could come back.
Yeah.
Every one of these kids has more eligibility, and so for us now,
good luck with that.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, and you know, NIL is a big part of that part of the conversation, which kind of really gets interesting with pro sports now. If you're a lower draft pick, you can have enough NIL money then to give a kid a decision whether they want to go or continue their college, and you're seeing older teams now in colleges, and that's what I think gives us a huge amount of success, is that blend of maturity with enough talented youth and finding that blend, and Coach is really good at that.
So how did you land? Did you land on Landon doing what he does with the NIL and being a former player? Like, how does that
it started with Austin Elrod, was a former quarterback. I've known Austin for a number of years. He's, you know, mid-30s, works really hard, owns a couple of companies, and we were looking for somebody that was very entrepreneurial. It started 2 years ago. I called Austin in the middle of the fall and said, hey, we got to solve this. And he got it right away. He had worked with the football staff when he had gotten done, so he understood the complexities of NIL and recruiting and the things that we needed. But then quickly pivoted to Landon as well as being part of that team. You know, they are great ambassadors of our program and programs, and they're a little flashy and they're good face men, but you know, they represent us in so many great ways, and understand what we need from the coaching staff because they're younger and understand the realities of what recruiting has become, and do a great job of helping us navigate that space.
You talking about Coach Sampson, you said something that Ben Olsen sat in that chair and said, the head coach of the Dynamo, something I've preached forever, is the ability to love your players off the court. That way, when it comes down to it, when you get in their face and yell at them and tell them they're not living up to the standard that you hold, and you don't lower that standard, they respond positively because they know you have your best interests, and they have your best interests in their heart. And that's why Kelvin, I believe, has been able to hold such a high standard and not move it, because they know that he cares about them.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable. I mean, that's what
and that's another word he's said a lot. It's not negotiable. You will play defense and you will rebound. Like, we're not talking about it.
Yeah, it's not an option.
Yeah.
You're going to do those things, and the other part about that is it allows him to, you know, the caliber of the people.
He's mentioned that too. High character men have survived his program because they have high character and probably the way they were raised.
Yeah. Survived is feels appropriate at times. I mean, he gets into it, and it's fun. And you know, I get the privilege of watching practice and seeing that, and you know, it played a big role as we, you know, evaluate our programs holistically and what we want to be and what we want to evolve into, and that firsthand seat. Being able to see that is, for me, is, you know, first time AD. Now I'm 7 years into this. I feel like I've been doing it a million years now. But those are lessons I'm still learning, and lessons I take and appreciate and try to apply them as we evaluate our other programs, as we try to raise the profile of our entire department.
Let's talk football real quick. And finally, what is a reasonable expectation entering the Big 12 like this with a new head coach? At the same time, you have transfer rules where, like, everyone expects to be good right away.
Yeah.
And you kind of need to be good right away just because of all the money that's involved.
Yeah.
But you also want to grow appropriately.
Yeah, that's right. You know, look, we've got to win, and Willie knows that. I know that. Being in a major market like Houston, you have to stand out, and you can't just be muddling through it. You have to achieve at a high level to be able to get the attention that you want in this market. Obviously, we've seen that with basketball. We've got to get there with football. That played a big part of our decision to move forward with Willie, and that's one thing that gets me really excited because he gets it. I mean, that guy, as much as Kelvin gets it in his own way, Willie gets it in his own way, and that excites me because he's at everything. He understands the importance of what basketball represents and what they're doing, And what's cool about it is it creates a selling point for our other recruits and our other programs because, again, as I mentioned earlier, it shows our ceiling's really hard. We can compete for national championships here. But as we talk about this next fall in the Big 12, obviously I want to get a winning season, get to a bowl game. I don't think that's too much of a stretch at all. I think, Coach, we're right in the middle.
Not anymore. You got to win like 2.5 games to get in a bowl game.
Yeah, well,
Dr. Cracker Jack's bowl.
they lowered the bar a little bit. But that's, the 6 wins threshold as you start to build a program. We're investing a lot with the new football facility that will be coming in line another year and a half next fall, 2 falls from now, fall of 25. Yeah, so building the program and standing out in the city of Houston. But what's really exciting is, with the transition to the Big 12 is so many opponents that are, people are used to seeing, whether it's Baylor coming in here or Utah now with the 4 new corner schools coming in. It's going to be exciting, and that's one thing that's lost. Even though UT and OU are leaving, we've got Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah rolling in here, and it's one thing in football, but it's a whole nother level in basketball. I mean, you think about going to Kansas City for the Big 12 tournament. That's going to be, every game's like a Sweet 16 game, and that's why. The A&M game this last weekend, we're all nervous and anxious, but at the same point, I was like, we've been through these wars, and I knew what we had in us, and I know what kind of team we had and what kind of people, and what was going to work out.
All right, Duke, Friday night. Yes. You going to be all right?
I'll be all right. You might see me pacing, drinking heavily, discreetly, but we'll be all right. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is what it's all about, and the fact that it's drivable, it's right up in Dallas. And can't wait to see a sea of red on the way to Dallas, stopping at the Buc-ee's along the way, and then showing the red and the Cougar pride in the city of Dallas.
So my wife is actually coming. She got her favorite text of all time. I said to her, because she travels with me as much as she possibly can, and she's coming to Sweet 16 now. And I said, all right, if the Cougs win, you go get your apparel.
Yes.
So she's going to go now buy all the cute stuff that she likes. So
awesome.
That's her favorite text of all time. Go find her swag.
Great. Well, if she needs any help, let us know. We'll make sure she's taken care of.
I'm sure she'll take any help in the fashion department. All right, everybody, check it out on Fox Local. Check it out on fox26houston.com. And get to Dallas. Chris, appreciate you having me on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time, and go Cougs.